Okay, Wang's dissertation is entitled The Tao of the Inner Child, a Transdisciplinary Study of Integral Healing. And the committee for Abhaya include me, Debashish Banerjee as the chair, June Wang as the second reader from East-West Psychology, and Dr. Leisha Douglas as the external reader. So without further ado, you all know me and June. We are core faculty at the East-West Psychology. Dr. Leisha Douglas is visiting us. She is a certified clinical psychologist, as well as a psychotherapist, and even more a poet. That's a poet and novelist, which is really what her present preoccupation is. But she's a very valuable contributor to Abhaya's dissertation, and we look forward to her comments and questions during this process. So without further ado, the way this oral defense will be run is that we will request Abhaya to do a presentation within an hour of her dissertation, after which we'll have a round of questions from the committee, and perhaps a second round. We'll deal with the questions related to her dissertation, and also questions related to the future of the work, as she and others may think of it. And then we'll open it to a round of questions from the participants and at this defense, after which we will, the committee members will move to a breakout room to discuss the presentation, while you all continue discussing the presentation with Abhaya, and then we'll return and address Abhaya with the conclusion for her oral presentation. So with all best wishes, Abhaya, please present your dissertation.
Okay, thank you very much, Debashish. And also thank you, June and Alicia. No, so important have you been with me in the process of my study, writing my dissertation. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. And I also would like to say thank you to the editing service in the writing center. It was very helpful for me to come to this point of my study. Okay, now I would like to share my screen and to start my presentation with the PowerPoint slides. Yeah. Okay, as Debashish introduced, my study title is The Tao of the Inner Child, a transdisciplinary study of integral healing. The question I ask myself is that what are the theoretical foundations for an integral healing framework which involves Taoism, integral yoga psychology, inner child work, so that we can harmonize and transform our intra and inter-psychic conflicts through the process of our conscious self-reparenting. Okay. So it means that this study is focused on the collaboration of East and West psychology. And the research methodology which I utilize is the transdisciplinary methodology. And this methodology allow me to transcend the different disciplines boundaries so that I can focus on finding the beneficial results for my focused inquiry. And the limitation of this methodology is that then I have limited space to explore the detailed techniques of each tradition. And the integration is my research strategy that for me to analyze and then synthesize the relevant principles, patterns, and the strengths of each tradition regarding to healing, our focused inquiry. Yeah. And my personal narrative has been utilized in this study to balance the theoretical objectivity and the lived subjectivity for the validity of this healing path. So first, I would like to explain what is Dao. Dao in Mandarin writing combines two parts. The first part is walking on our feet, and the second part is the head, our consciousness. So two parts combined together, the meaning is that the Tao is the way we must walk as a conscious living path. And for transdisciplinary methodology, the utilization of the metaphor is very common and important to help us to learn the intricate concept. So in this study, there are two important metaphors. The first one is a mother, especially in Taoism and integral yoga psychology. It's to symbolize our transcendental origin. And another metaphor is the inner child. Inner child symbolizes our conscious integration of becoming a united wholeness. So it is a process of potential becoming to actualize our inborn seeds. So it is a developmental actuality and a symbolic possibility for us, for each individual. Now, a psychic map of the inner child. I will explain the 4 layers later on. Right now, which I want to point out is to explain the red path with both with the arrow on both ends, indicates our integral healing path. The healing rationale is that because as a child, because of our developmental dependency needs, we learn to look outwardly to adapt to the environment. And right now, as a grown up, in the process of our self-reparenting, we can learn to reverse our attention inwardly, as the arrow shows, to bring the light of our consciousness to harmonize and to coordinate and to integrate our different layers of our psyche. Now we come to the ontological assumption of Taoism. Yeah, the Tao Te Ching chapter 52 talk about the metaphorical relationship of the mother and the son. Yeah, here the mother and the son. The mother symbolizes our transcendental origin, and the son symbolizing all of the being are born out of the womb of the transcendental mother. And this ontological worldview explains the cosmological macrocosm and the microcosm. And I perceive this metaphysical umbilical connection as providing the integral healing of our non-being and the being within. So based on this ontological assumption, within everybody within each of us, we have the embedded impersonal cosmic essence here, CE, and our individualized personal essence, our personal essence, PE. As the Tao Te Ching chapter 55 says, one who has the abundance of the virtue is like a newborn baby. So in Taoism, the mind of a sage or a newborn baby are the symbol presented our individualized personal essence. Okay, and now we come to the healing principle Taoism. I perceive the statements in Tao Te Ching chapter 40 as the healing principle. The first statement is reversal is the movement of the way. So I interpret it as the healing movement for our habitual outwardly focus is to consciously reverse our attention inwardly. Yeah, to return to our origin as the integral healing path. Yeah. And then the second statement, weakness is a function of the way. I interpret it as that our vulnerability is the functional development as the transitional space to integrate our outer personality and inner true self. Okay, it's the transitional space. And then understanding that all things in the world live in being, and the being lives in non-being. Can remind us that we are all indivisible oneness. And as you can see in this psychic map, I use the dotted lines to indicate the demarcation of the different psychic functional layers within an indivisible wholeness. So this also can remind us, even though we have different psychic layers with different functions, but they are indivisible, interconnected, and ever-changing. We are moving in different layers in different moments. Okay, to carry out the principle I just mentioned, Taoism, I perceive it utilizes the virtue and the contemplation as the healing methods. Yeah. Chapter 51 used the describe that the way produce all things, and the virtue nurtures them, grows them, shatters them. Yeah. So, and now to talk about, there are two kinds of the virtue. The first one is a supreme virtue, which he described as produce without possessing, act without taking credit, grow without controlling. So we can understand with the supreme virtue, if we live in supreme virtue, then it's a safe environment for our true self to grow. And when we are not living in the supreme virtue, then he mentioned there are 3 different kinds of the low virtues for us to turn to adapt to the environment. Yeah, one is the humanity. It's the heartful action without purpose. And another one is righteousness, which is a purposeful action with the willful strength, like our own autonomy. And another one is the propriety. Propriety means that it is the action with a purposeful rights or learned skills with external force. All this is when we cannot live within in our supreme virtue, then we also talk about we have these 3 low virtue to adapt to utilize. And another one is the contemplation. The contemplation is about self-reflection. And 2 different ways. One is through inquiry, for using inquiry question for our truth inquiry and self-inquiry. The purpose is to help us to have our inner concentration and clarification. And in the Secret of Golden Flower mentioned the meditation practice. Yeah, the way is to backward flowing lights. Backward flowing lights. And the backward flowing lights has 2 different ways. One is a fixation, fix our attention in the cosmic essence and personal essence, in our essence, to establish our inner foundation, to cultivate our inner stillness. And another is a circulation of the light, which is more maybe when there's a thought coming out, we the light circulates to understand the thought, where it comes from, how it pass, where is the origin. It's the process of cultivate our wisdom. Maybe so in Chinese it calls 定慧双修. Okay. Now we come to the strength of the integral yoga psychology to address the totality of our human consciousness. Okay, and similar to Taoism, integral yoga psychology based on the ontological assumption of macrocosm and microcosm. So Indian culture talk about the creation moves in a bidirectional principle of unity and multiplicity. And this bidirectional principle can be explained by 2 simultaneous systems of operation. One is concentric, one is vertical. I will explain later. Yeah. And the Sri Aurobindo talk about the triple transformation: psychic, spiritual, and supramental transformation. Through this triple transformation can carry out these 2 concentric and vertical system. So it's, I call it the epistemology of our conscious transformation. Yeah. Now we come to the psychical transformation first. The psychical transformation is based on our inward conversion of our consciousness turning inward. And so it means to transform our being from egocentric, outer layer of personality, to psychocentric, to be centered in our true self, in our central being. Yeah. Okay. And in order to reach this goal, the hidden element of a psychical transformation is the first is to understanding our service personality, which is our outer being, is that our ego structure is organized by the information in the web of the time and the space. So sometimes, and then when we understand this, then we know there is another inner, there is a true self within us. And when we understand that, then we open to our subliminal inner being. The subliminal inner being include our subconscious and the superconscious, which it is the intermediate subtle plan for us to transit from our outer to the true being. Okay. And when we open to our inner being, then automatically we are moving towards opening to our psychic being. Sorry, Aurobindo talk about it. Our psychic being is the presentation of our evolving soul. And through our consciously foster our true physical being, vital being, mental being, then we gradually move from our true being of the psychic, from our true being towards to develop our psychic being towards our central being. Okay. Another hidden element for psychical transformation is opening to Divine Mother. Yeah. So by opening to Divine Mother, it means that open our outer being, the activity of our mental, our vital, our physical, to contact with our truth consciousness, to receive the inspiration from Divine Mother. So the healing method is first, the most important is a meditation practice. Because through meditation practice, we can detach and witness the activity of our service personality to disidentify with it. Through this disidentification with our service personality, then we open up our channel to receive the aspiration of the Divine Mother to purify the activity of our mind, our heart, our will. So this is the process of transformation of our service personality. And another method is directly concentrate our consciousness and identify with our true central being. Yeah, so one way is to go through the transformation of the service personality. Another way is to concentration and identification with the true central being. So when we talk about these two ways, it's similar to the Taoism, the meditation practice of fixation of lights and the circulation of lights. I interpret it in this way. Yeah. Okay. Now we come to the spiritual experimental transformation. Yeah. The spiritual experimental transformation is more about the upward conversion of our consciousness. The psychic is more inward conversion, and the spiritual transformation is more upward conversion. Okay, and before talking about, and first we need to talk about the sevenfold mode in Veda. Veda talk about sevenfold mode of being. The seven, which I show here. Yeah. The upper part, upper hemisphere has 3 planes: existence, consciousness, bliss. This upper hemisphere is our divine being, divine consciousness. And then the fourth plane is a supermind. Yeah, supermind function as the creative medium to descend the true knowledge of the upper hemisphere of the divine knowledge, true knowledge, through the lower hemisphere, and at the same time support the ascension of our instrumental being in the lower hemisphere in the process of our becoming. Yeah. And the lower hemisphere is the manifestation of instrumental being, and including the mind, life, matter, which is the mental being, vital being, physical being. And cerebral talk about it. These three consciousness has been established in the Earth consciousness by evolution, and each plane has its own self-existent consciousness. So understanding this as self-mode being, then we can come to the spiritual transformation is through the healing movement of descension, is to descend to the higher planes of power to divinize our lower being. And at the same time, through this descension of the higher planes of power, we ascend our consciousness to the higher planes. And in the spiritual transformation, we ascend from our ordinary mental consciousness up to higher mind, like a daylight, and illuminated mind, and intuition. And finally, we centralize in the cosmic overmind, which is still our individual, part of our individual consciousness. Yeah. And then the supramental transformation brought further upward, use the healing element of the supermind, the integrity of the supermind to directly transcend the truth, our divine truth consciousness, to supramentalize our lower being, to divinize our lower being, so that our lower being all becomes supramentalized in divine consciousness. And the healing method basically to achieve this is through meditation and contemplation. There is a specific meditation practice. And the main focus is to consciously intensify the divine aspiration to transform our heart, our mind, our body to truth consciousness, or under the aspiration of the Divine Mother. Okay, now we come to the inner child work, Jung's child archetype. Yeah, there is a Yang talk about the 5 psychological implication, which is a link with the past, a system function in the present, a potential future. So this we can see this create the establish the coherent integration of the past, present, future. And he talked about the plurality and the unity of the child archetype. So it's I perceive similar to the we just mentioned in integral yoga psychology, the unity and the multiplicity. And the child God and child hero is the our potentiality. And there is a four special phenomenon in this in the child archetype he mentioned. The abandonment of the child it talk about that we, in order to have a renewal, the theme of the abandonment of the child is that each individual needed to leave the background and become manifested as an instrumental being, and then for a renewal. And the invisibility of the child is the potentiality, yeah. And the hermaphroditism is the theme of the polarity, yeah. In between the polarity, we learn to use the polarity as a mirror, then we grow up in between polarity to stretch our potentiality. And the child as a beginning of and the end is a path of working on our conscious living path of our becoming. And to use the child archetype into our individuation process, there are three stages he mentioned. That the initial stage is identified with the infantilism. It means the infantilism means we identify with our mistreated child inside. He used the mistreated child. So in the inner child, we call it the wounded inner child. Okay. And so when we identify with our, in integral yoga side is outer personality. When we identify with our outer personality, our potential, our wounded child, as a mistreated child, we identify with our infantilism. Yeah. And then second stage is when we understand it, and then we open up our consciousness to separate and objectify with the child, the mistreated child, and it's a part of our vulnerability. Yeah. Then we opened up to our archaic feature, means our personal essence, which in travel with us in different lives. And then come to the third stage of hero identification. The child hero. Yeah, we finally actualize our personal essence. He called hero identification. Yeah. Okay, so Jung's child archetype is about the collective unconsciousness of our child state consciousness. And the developmental task is about understanding our personal unconscious of our child state consciousness. So, and by understanding our developmental task, the purpose is to enable us, when we do our self-repairing process, we have the capacity to consciously to understand, to provide our inner child, which our upbringing process was missed, was unable to provide. Yeah. So that is the purpose of understanding our developmental basic task. So during the self-repairing process, we know how to provide it for what was unmet, was missing. Okay, so the infant stage, the basic infant stage, what we need is a healthy symbiotic bonding that we can develop our essential quality of trust, safety, hope, power of being. So when these basic needs is met, it's provided, then we can develop our trust, safety, hope. And this is a space of, in our psyche, we feel that I am you, we are one with our caretaker. I am you. Yeah. So it's a codependency state. Yeah. And then when it is unfulfilled, then we develop our mistrust. And a sharp shame, abandonment, or this inner child, wounded inner child. Yeah. And then the toddler stage is what we need is a healthy discipline to explore. The toddler stage is main focus is to explore, to develop our autonomy, our healthy shame and doubt. And the healthy discipline means that to provide that, okay, the permission, yes, I can explore. And at the same time, I'm provided to know what is the boundary. This boundary is very important for the toddler to understand, oh, as a human being, we have our human healthy limitation. Yeah, it's called healthy shame. Yeah, with this healthy shame, we can develop healthy doubt to check on the reality. Yeah, but without this healthy discipline to explore, then if the discipline is too strict, then we develop the toxic shame of I'm wrong again. I cannot do this because I'm so bad. It's called toxic shame. All this toxic shame hits our being that I'm wrong. Yeah, and then another. But if the discipline is no boundary, no healthy boundary, like he can do whatever he can do, then become the offensive aggression. Yeah, I can do whatever I can do. I am the number one. I am the most important in the whole world. I just do whatever I can do. A lot of offensive aggression come from this toddler stage, was not provided with a healthy discipline to explore. And then the preschool stage is the stage to develop our early identity. Yeah, so the basic needs is to have a role model in our upbringing process to form our identity as what kind of girl, what kind of boy. Yeah, and then so that we can initiate our purpose. Yeah, with a healthy guilt. This is a toddler stage development, and the preschool stage develop our healthy guilt to understand that oh, right now what kind of behavior what I'm doing is create something wrong for somebody else, to hurt somebody else. Then I feel guilt because of this guilt feeling, and I can do something to make up, to compensate. It's called healthy guilt because I did something not right. I hurt someone. But if this healthy guilt is not developed, then we might, without good role model, then we might become the toxic guilt that I'm responsible for everything. I'm wrong. And this somebody else suffering is because of me. Then we have the toxic guilt, yeah, developed. And this toxic will reinforce our toxic shame that I'm just wrong and I'm responsible for everything. Everything goes wrong is because of me. Yeah. And then the school stage is to develop the I'm competent. Yeah. And so need to be supported to fit into a new environment and to develop I'm competent, and at the same time I can collaborative. It's called interdependence. Yeah. If this is if I feel I'm competent, then I can become really industrious. And otherwise I develop the development wound of feeling inferior. Then I have to isolate myself. Okay, and then the adolescent stage is to develop that to be our conscious identity. I'm a unique self, that I'm ready to be independent from my family, and to be who I am, and to step into the adulthood, into the society. So to understanding our developmental task, then I want to conclude that the self-reparenting process is to the healing element. The three important healing elements is meditation practice. So in order to be able to be with our wounded part, then we need to be able to be centered in ourselves, and through meditation practice to witness our protection, our vulnerability, wounded child, and not identify with it, not be overwhelmed by it. Yeah, and the higher power resources. This higher power resources is really, really important. In this study, I use a lot of the essential mother, divine mother. Yeah, and the importance of the higher power resources is to really understand that the integrity of our whole being include our spirituality within us, and also that we can really understand that recognize that as a human we have our human healthy limitation, which is not under the respect of the higher power. And the strength of a current adult consciousness, this is the actually from what I was talking along the way, it's kind of the establish of our current adult consciousness to understand our consciousness. Yeah, it's the understanding. Maybe we also can say it's the establishment of our ego strength, because we are living in the embodiment to learn to understand ourselves, to learn to understand environment and how to cope with. Yeah. And the healing method is I use in this study is the integration of 4-layer cycle map of this. Yeah. Now I'm going to talk about the innermost center of cosmic essence. Yeah. To understand our innermost center of cosmic essence is to establish our inner foundation and healing resources. Yeah. And the innermost center of a cosmic is a transcendental mother, and in Taoism is a supreme virtue, is ultimate safe environment, and the golden flower open and crystallized. I will explain later. Yeah, and the divine mother, integral yoga psychology, has the 4 aspects of her wisdom, force, harmony, self-perfection. So this is really helpful for me whenever I feel lost or I feel kind of confused or I lose myself. When I notice it, then I just remind myself, I have the divine mother's wisdom, force, harmony, perfection. She does everything in her own law. Then I'm relaxed. Yeah. And I know there's a self-perfection law in me, which if I'm relaxed, I contact with Divine Mother, it will guide me. It's very important for me, yeah, in my healing process. And then the inner layer of personal essence. Personal essence is to actualize our essential child. Yeah. Developing in integral yoga psychology, this is very helpful for me. That's why I put out this developing true physical, vital, and mental beings. Yeah. And in my dissertation, I wrote about it. I used some inquiry questions to help myself to resonate with my true being. And especially writing this dissertation, whenever I feel when I feel lost, whenever I feel that I get stuck, I have to stop, and I go to nature and I ask myself, what I have done or can do to support the organization of my knowledge and skills. This is to develop my mental being, and what can I now organize my mental formulation to feel integrated and connected to others and existence. Yeah, with these two questions, I foster my adult strengths. Yeah. And with the next one, what would the essential mother say to me about my mental expression? Consolidating with the truth, goodness, and beauty. I surrender to the essential mother, what he will say to me, she will say to me. Yeah. So this is the process I use for me to somehow guide me to go through the process. So a lot of time, actually, it's sometimes I just when I feel lost, sometimes when I do this process and then something just come out, it's not through my own idea. Yeah. And then the foster essential quality through developmental task. Yeah. Like we talk about the developmental task. Now we with the self with our and recognize our essential inner child appears in daily life to bring our conscious my awareness to when my essential child come into the in my daily life. And in the past I may judge it as a childish, but now I understand it's part of my essential childlike quality. Then I can accept it. Then I can foster it. Yeah. And the middle layer of vulnerability, we come to. So if we live in the safe environment, our personal essence can really grow and actualize, and we grow as with our becoming potential becoming. But sometimes the environment has its limit, so we become hurt. Yeah, safe environment can support the growth of our essential job, but unsafe environment can hurt the growth. Yeah, not just not supported, but hurt. Then we become our wounded inner child become imprinted. Yeah. Okay, so the embedded, because we have embedded innate sensitivity. Let's remember in Taoism we talk about weakness is the function of the way. Yeah, through our embedded sensitivity, we develop. Yeah, and self. We have our natural fear, but our natural fear to remind us that I am right now I need to pay more attention. It's our natural fear. But if our natural fear is suppressed or criticized or not validated, then we become wounded shock. Yeah, then we shut down our system. Yeah, and when my shocked inner child, wounded child show up, I often use this talk with my inner child, my wounded child, say, I'm grown up you and understand you are frightened. It is okay to be afraid. I'm here with you and you are safe now. Yeah, this sentence helped me a lot for my own self-regulation, my organic self-regulation. Is I created a self-attachment with myself. And then another one is important is our healthy human limitation become toxin. Yeah. And what are my when I feel that the toxin a lot of time is presented through the show up through our voice. So I will ask, what are my thoughts saying? Maybe the soul saying, I'm not good enough, I'm too bad. And then I will ask the Divine Mother, is it true that I'm not good enough? Then I wait for how the Divine Mother respond to me. This is very, very helpful for me to hear my toxin of. And another one is abandonment. If we in a safe environment, in a safe environment, we grow up with self-fulfillment and we blossom. The potential seed can blossom. But with the unsafe environment, we have our wounded abandonment wound. So I normally ask, what is making me disappointed? Because in what way do I feel deprived? Deprived is part of abandonment wound. Yeah. So then outer layer of the protection is the doorway for healing. Yeah, we normally criticize our protection, but actually for my study, I utilize the protection as a doorway of healing. When I go into my protection mechanism of pleasing behavior, then I understand that under the pleasing behavior, I have what I really need is to have a harmonization. Yeah, and when I go into the fighting strategy, I understand that beneath my fighting behavior, what I need is I need to be able to master right now the situation. And when I use the manipulation, I notice that what I really need is to manage the situation. Yeah, and the mentalizing is I need to make sense of what is happening, and withdrawing is that I need to go inward for my safety, because outside is too much for me. I don't feel safe. So to conclude, this as a healing path, the following question is: when I notice I'm pleasing in my outer protection mechanism behavior, then I ask myself, how would I describe my feeling or my body sensations right now? I might feel sad, I might feel bad, I might feel tight. And are these feelings similar to my past experience with someone? Then when I ask this question, then I dissolve my projection into the outer environment right now. And beneath this action, what do I need? Come to the basic needs of our vulnerability, from wounded, the feeling, sensation, yeah. And then I come to the needs, the essential child needs of the vulnerability. What do I really need? And yeah, and then from here, then I can, if I provided the needs, and then I know the needs, and I understand it, I validate it, then part of my personal essence is fostered, is fulfilled. And then, yeah, and are there other helpful way to achieve them? This is my grown-up consciousness coming out, now my adult consciousness, to evaluate the situation. If there are other way to achieve what I need. And then if my adult consciousness is not strong enough yet, then I turn to the essential mother. What will the essential mother tells me? Then I just wait. Yeah. So in this way, I harmonize, coordinate, integrate these 4 layers of psyche. So this, sorry, this is a lot of writing here. Yeah. So so in the most center is a cosmic essence. In the child work is a healing resource, essential mother from the Taoism and the integral yoga psychology, the transcendental mother. And through this process, what we can achieve is because of this the essential mother these healing resources. What we can achieve is the supplemental child, which Debashi coined it. Yeah, and then the invincible child, and in Taoism is the golden flower crystallized. The golden flower opens. Crystallized means that we reutilized with our originality. Yeah, and in the integral yoga psychology is the divine, for supramental transformation, supermind. We reunite with our divine consciousness, and the divine consciousness divinize our whole being. Yeah, and spiritual transformation is we centralize ourselves in the overmind, which is a part of the cosmic essence. And the psychical transformation is a central being, which is in the cosmic state or cosmic essence. Yeah, like Atman or Jivatman. Yeah, and the layer of our personal essence is our true self, our trust, love, our autonomous will, our initial strength, yeah, our competence, and in Taoism is our sage mind, yeah, and we can utilize the humanity and the rationalist propriety in the high space, close to the Tao, yeah, and in the secret of golden flower is a golden flower bud, our personal essence. Actualize, yeah, and then the integral psychology is in the spiritual transformation is our personal essence is we become aware of our it's the higher mind, like daylight. I know I like it and illuminated mind and intuition, our true identity, intuition to our true identity. Yeah, and the psychical transformation is a true being, our true physical, true vital, true mental, and towards our psychical evolution is a psychic being. And the vulnerability is a transitional space from our true self to our infantilism. Yeah, from our true self to our wounded part of infantilism. And yeah, from sensitivity to mistrust, shock, shame, abandonment. And the transition of the higher to lower humanity, righteousness, propriety. And the integral psychology is the subliminal inner being, which is we get in touch with our inner mind, inner vital, inner physical, and it's a transition from our inner soul personality and our ego personality. And it's the process of purification and the transformation of our mind, heart, will. Yeah. And the protection layer is our protection. Yeah. We talk about protective mechanism. Okay, then the behavior or our role playing, and in the Taoism is that we unconsciously masked by personal preoccupation to use our heartful action or righteous action or learned skill priority to fulfill our own personal agenda. Yeah. Okay, and the outer being, integral IYP is our service personality. It is the activity organized and adapted in the web of time and space. Sorry, I rushed through it. My apology. So the integrality is, yeah, this I wrote it in the dissertation. That's the four healing principle and in the integrality. And the implementation of this psychic map is, as we talk along the way, it can help us with the personal transformation. And we can utilize this psychic map in a relationship as a reflective mirror. Like this is me, and this is the person who I'm related to. And I can visualize this map, and then I can see, oh, now I'm fighting with him. I'm in my fighting strategy, okay, outer layer, and which layer he is in. He's showing he's vulnerable. He feels hurt, so he's relating to me from his vulnerability. Or right now, I feel I'm so happy with this person. I'm so grateful. I'm in my essence space. And this person is in his difficulty, and he is doing something. The behavior is trying to get my attention, and he might be in his outer layer or his vulnerability, showing his needs. So in this way, I can see the dynamic happening in between these two people, And for me, the most important is that, especially when I'm in the relationship drama, creating hurting each other, when I visualize this map, immediately I stop myself into this drama. I stop my reaction, and I stop my projection that he's so bad, treating me so bad, or whatever. Yeah, I stop my projection. It's the most important to so, and he just shows me that my abandoned wounds or what I really need. Yeah. And nurturance of the familiar function too. If the parents can understand the child's our developmental needs, developmental task, I'm really believe that a lot parents will try their best to, in a healthy way, to provide the developmental needs to their kids. Yeah, and without dumping their own wounded child onto their kids. So my hope is that a basic understanding of human development task and the consequence of its unfulfillment will raise conscious awareness and acceptance of our inborn human rights, where our basic needs can be safely met. I think this is very important that everybody have the basic needs, our human right, the consciousness of our basic human right to be understood and to be fulfilled in a safe environment. Then a lot of catastrophe can be avoided. And then when more people learn how to turn inward for self-understanding instead of habitually reacting out to hurt each other, we shed more conscious light into the darkening crisis of current humanity. This is my hope, that this work can really go into the family, into the individuals, and to dissolve a lot of the disaster of hurting each other. Okay. So thank you, everybody here. I think I'm going to end my presentation here. Thank you.
Good.
So,
Thank you, Abhaya. Thank you so much. Maybe you can stop sharing the screen.
yes.
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you, Abhaya. I think what we'll do at this time is go through some discussion. More than questions, they'll be in the form of discussions. So we'll raise some areas that we'll ask you, and then as you develop or answer them, the other committee members should feel free to, either comment, express themselves, or ask questions related to those areas. And then each of them will also then follow up with questions of their own. I'll start off with a question or rather open an area related to your presentation, Abhaya, and your dissertation as well. And the basic question I'd like to ask is that I think you present your research objectives, and you also present the wider scope of your of the research objectives, not only a personal scope, but as you begin and end, you talk about the larger contemporary need and social need of this work. So my question is that you've used 3 models, and each of these models is quite powerful in itself. Why did you go to this use of 3 models? And why these 3 models? And finally, what about the cultural specificity and historicity of each of these models? Because they're different both in terms of their historicity as well as their cultural specificity. So why these 3 specific models? What does their cultural specificity and historicity have to do with it? And why at all 3 models?
Thank you, Debashish. I think this is a really good question for me. Yeah. Taoism, for my own inner process, I just really enjoy reading Tao Te Ching. It's really a healing. Whenever I read the Tao Te Ching, then I just feel like, oh, I'm reminded of something deep in me. Yeah. And also maybe because of my upbringing process and my education process, I was a teacher in middle school for Mandarin. So I teach the text and I teach the Mandarin, how the meaning of the Mandarin, how Mandarin was created. So it's embedded in me. And the integral yoga psychology, since I have a long history in India. I like Indian culture so much. Yeah, and since I'm at CIS, I get into to know the Aurobindo work, and I just feel like there's something in there can help me, can support my study. So but it's not easy for me to read. So I really just need to focus myself to understand what the Aurobindo wanting to talk about. And I'm very grateful you told me to read the Triple Transformation, because I have been using this psychical map, inner child psychical map, for many years, and this. When I read the Triple Transformation, somehow I just feel there's something click that I can draw the wisdom of the Triple Transformation into the utilization of this psychical map. Yeah, to coordinate, to integrate. Yeah, and you talk about an inner child work, because I think because of my upbringing process and my background, political background with the China and Taiwan issue, and this safe environment, and my parents' situation is just so important for me. Yeah, so I think this is my wound was drawing me into how to support myself, a safe environment for me. Yeah, and I think it's also for everybody. And so inner child work, that's why inner child work really draw me a lot. Really, I like it very much. Yeah, it's a very subtle nourishment for me, and I feel like to share it. Yeah. And when you talk about the historical specifics, yeah, a lot of I feel lost, honestly, during the ride. When I'm in it, yeah, especially when it comes to the point when I need to synthesize these three traditions, then I thought, oh my God, how can I do it? But as I talk about in the presentation, I said a lot of time I got lost. Yeah, I feel stuck. I said, just by concentric and the vertical, how do I put them just together? And but then there's a belief in me, a trust in me, say the reality, each moment of reality, only one reality. And I believe the historical cultural specifics. So each tradition develop their own language, yeah, their own structure of expression. But we are all human beings born out of the transcendental mother. So there is only one reality happen in each moment. And if I can trust on this, then all different way of expression, different system of expression is expression in one dimension of one reality. And if I trust on this, then I focus on this one reality. So then I should be able to put them together to elicit this one commonality, just one reality, just expressed in different systems, languages. Yeah. And because this, so that's why I said the limitation is then I don't have the space to go into the specific structure, because the historical or cultural structure. I don't know if I answer your question.
Thank you. Well, I think, I think what you brought in your answer right now, you already talk about it in your dissertation, which is the autoethnographic part, that the individual, I mean, if we just think of these questions in an abstract way, why these three rather than other three, it becomes just a question. But it's also related to who am I, my experience, my upbringing. And I think your autoethnographic part really weaves and stitches these three traditions together, as you just explained. And I think that's very legitimate. And that's one of the, and you mentioned that in your dissertation as well. So I completely accept that kind of an answer. I think one of the things that struck me is the mother and child image. That is the way in, and you talked about, the limitations right up front of the three, of this kind of an approach of integrating three very profound traditions, historically and culturally diverse. But I think your inner selection interprets them through the lines of this metaphor of the mother and child. And I think that's what allows you to synthesize them. And those particular, dynamics are really what gives coherence to your integral map. And the third thing I think is that the whole person intuition, the intuition for arriving at a model of the whole person that is guiding you in your heuristic approach to this integration is what really comes through. Leisha, June, would you like to piggyback on this or comment?
Well, being a clinician, I'm always thinking about how do I bring these kinds of ideas into the treatment room? And one of the questions I had for you, Baya, is you touch on meditation, but I wonder how that would play a part in you treating a client. Would you recommend that? Would you teach the client a technique? Or what would you do with that piece? Because it's a significant piece of all those traditions, I think, at least meditation and contemplation.
Yes, thank you. It's a good question for me. Yeah. Normally when I give my consultation, I depending on the clients. Yeah. Some clients, I introduce meditation to them. I share with them how, when I do this, how do I feel, how it help me out. And then they do it. And they just do it, practice it. And some clients, they feel, they heard it, and then they doesn't feel like to do it, then that's okay for me.
Okay.
Because I think everybody has their own way and their own space right now differently. Maybe in the past they do it, but right now they don't feel like it. So I never give the rule or own suggestion. The way when I teach meditation is that I share my experience. And if this experience touch them, then they feel click, then they do it. And if they heard it and they feel there's a inheritance, and I respect it. I respect it. Because that's what the healing element is, meditation practice, and also, and some clients can have their own spiritual resources easily, and sometimes they just require that that I am here with them.
Mhm.
They need it. So
Yeah. Mhm.
if I answer your question, but I have a recording of a recording class, audio class, which I make a recording, which I use a lot of guided meditation. The guided meditation I use is the breathing meditation, just to have the time to.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, because it seems like you're mentioning quite a few times this trying to create that space in which somebody can be responsive without being reactive. Like that's part of the transition, the transformation you're looking for. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. And so in one way, I introduce the technique of meditation. And another way for me, I think the meditation space is my own meditation space.
Mhm.
With them. Yeah. And when they feel I'm settled, I'm settled, then I don't know how to express in English. That's this kind of settled and centeredness, then can they feel comfortable, then they have interest.
Mhm.
Okay.
I would call that self-regulation. When you're regulated,
Yes.
then the client responds. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. 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 Thank you. Self-regulation. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, very interesting discussion. I just want to echo what Debashish just mentioned, like the three models of your dissertation. When I first read your dissertation, I feel similarly. I feel like, wow, this is so broad, and then they all have their own cultural context. And I think your presentation today really did a very good job for me to help me to have a more deeper understanding or see the parallel between these three models. So you did a really good presentation, especially the tables, the chart. I do see the parallels. I think I have both a comments and maybe a question is between the Taoist model and the integral yoga. I really I think you selected the relevant chapters of Tao. The function of the Tao is returning, and the weakness or the softness is the way, and this is related with the child, right? The child is appear like very weak, but it's actually the strength. The vulnerability is also the strength actually for healing and for growth. It looks like for the Tao, the returning the returning is to return to the center in your model, in these 4 layers of inner child model, is returning the cosmic center or the personal essence, the inner essence. In the Tao, is returning to this center, and then looks like in your model of the 3 or 4 layers of integral yoga, there's a evolutionary model from the lower plane to the higher plane. So it's like a vertical direction. So how do you integrate these two? Like one is like more on the horizontal, from outer to inner, the center, and then the integral yoga is lower to the higher. Like how did you address these 2 directions, or how you integrate this direction in your healing process?
I think when I change my perception of it's two different model. And then I look at that like in a central being, in a concentric system is in the innermost center. But at the same time, if we present our reality in a vertical part, in a vertical system, then it's in the center, the innermost center is our origin. We return to our origin, reunification, right? And then this reunification, reunification is if we present it in a vertical system, then it's on the top over supermind that we in samadhi we reunify with the origin, because the low parts, low hemisphere actually coming from the higher hemisphere. So it's the reunification. So it's the same one reality. It's the one reality. This reunification is one reality. So that's why I use the table to put it together, to put it in the same level, in the same. I don't know if I got to answer.
Yes, yeah, you explain it's more dynamic than a static model, right? Yeah, so the lower is also come from the higher, and then the lower can go up to the higher, because that's the way. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's
So it's about the reunification, right? And another reunification in the concentric system is coming to the center, and in the vertical system is the going up to return to where we come from. Yeah, so it's the same. It's the one reality, just expressed in different way of expression. Yes. Yeah.
So, Abhaya, I think that question that June was asking, I think that's a really profound question. You address it, but I'd say that over time, again, when we are talking about maybe the future of the work, it's a question that needs a little more development, just like you're saying, because in a way, the highest is the innermost. You know, that there is, it's, you know, and I think one of the strengths of the Taoist system is to talk about non-being and being, right? That the non-being, and you also brought it out in the child work, where the innermost child, the essence of the child is unity and plurality at the same time.
Yes.
It's one and plural at the same time. So this, you know, this potential, which is infinite potential.
Yes.
This is the highest potential. This is non-being, actually, because it's beyond whatever can be said about what exists.
Yeah.
You know, so and you used a beautiful term. You used the term cosmic umbilical cord, umbilical connection.
Yes.
You used the term umbilical connection for the Taoist connection between the non-being and being, which comes through the child, or the cosmic mother and the child.
Yes.
So I think that is inside us, and that is also in the highest of the cosmos. One is a cosmic map, one is a personal map. And so what you call about the two layers of the child, the cosmic essence and the personal essence, I think relate to that, because the cosmic essence ultimately is the highest, as well as the innermost. And the personal essence is the individuation of that as a unique individual. I feel that's how I intuited what you were trying to say. And I think that relates to June's question. I think it's a complex matter that maybe in a future version of your work, you can develop some more.
Yeah, I more go into more into the details and depths. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just what you are saying is you mentioned the demarcation between the personal essence and the cosmic essence. In the table, I stop the personal essence in the intuition, because intuition is to our true identity. Yeah, and when we come out, go up to overmind, the overmind is the cosmic. Yeah, our individual, but still our individual, part of our individual essence, but have go into the cosmic. It's like an Atman or Jivatman. So it's so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there,
Yes.
so the personal and the cosmic is not completely separate, but there's overlap there. Personal going to cosmic before personal disappear. Okay, sorry.
Oh no, yeah, thank you, Debussy and Apaya for further explanation. I just also want to mention the idea you already wrote in your dissertation about the 玄德, the hidden virtue, or the virtue that actually is not what like mostly the society or told us what is moral behavior, all this, but 玄德 is in Taoist, the term is the hidden virtue, which the non-being or the mother, the cosmic mother, give birth but don't possess.
Yes.
They let everything grow but do not control.
Yes.
I think that's the virtue where you know, in the individuation process, I think we got this wounded child is because there are too many what do you call the young virtue, right? We don't have the nurtured by the yin virtue, which is the hidden virtue, the mother virtue. So I feel this is also very strong forces in this integral healing. Although you're talking about, yeah. I just want to elaborate a little bit about between the Taoist, the 玄德 and the hidden virtue, or the virtue where the cosmic mother or the Tao operate is not through possession, control, but is the non-being. The non-being give birth to the beings, all the beings, right? It's like the center of the wheel is empty, therefore all the other things can happen, right? That's like Debussy said, the most inner self, the emptiness or the Tao, the hidden virtue, is also the utmost, connected with the highest, the infinite.
Yes. Yeah, very good. Thank you. 玄德 is a mystical virtue.
Yeah, exactly. The 玄德, yeah, like
From the
most time people don't talk about that, right? Because we talk about morality. Like in Taoist chapter 2, they always say when everyone thinks that's good, and that actually is bad. That's not 玄德, that's not hidden virtue. It's the virtue where everyone thinks, oh, you should be great, you should all have all these expectations to us, right? So we over-identify with social norms and rules and goodness. Therefore, we lost the self, or feel shamed, or all these things you mentioned in your dissertation, right? It's because well, we don't nurture by 玄德 or neglect of that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind virtue we can cultivate? Yeah.
Yes, virtue. That's why virtue is a hidden master. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So with just now we discussed, I want to just last one go back to what the Devash asked about to put and also Jun talk about to put all different all these tradition together. I think I use the symbol of the inner child. Not one reason is because of my own healing process. Another reason is that because everybody, as long as we are all in the embodiment, we are all born as a child, and we all go through this child potential process, developmental process. So this is the reason that under the integral yoga psychology and the Taoism all use the child as a symbol for the development, the potential, and the as a being. So that's one reason that. So then I saw that then there's a possibility to elicit a commonality beyond all different languages and different cultural development, and the commonality of the principle with one symbol. So everybody will go to the child space. Okay, just to answer the question. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhaya. One other question that again, I think it came up right in this discussion itself. And it also relates to the cultural differences. Integral yoga psychology is a modern reinterpretation of yoga psychology. Already, it's written in English language. You can read it in the English language. So, though there is always a resonance between the Sanskrit terms and the English terms, just like when you're talking about Taoism, you as a native Chinese speaker or June are looking at the Chinese texts, but also looking at the English text as translation to, express it to us, to others who, to the world. So when you use the word virtue, for example, that's a very interesting and inviting term because partly also because of the radical difference between the Chinese language as a ideographic language and the Indo-European system as a phonetic system. The translations are always mysterious as far as an outside listener is concerned. So the term virtue, for example, I mean, immediately resonates in my mind with that term and its Indo-European roots and its Indo-European understanding, So, you use the word hero for the kind of, the reparented child, right? The hero. The word hero, for example, is related to the term virtue in the Indo-European system. In fact, hero itself is a kind of a phonetic, deviant of vira. Vira is related to virtue, vira, which is hero in Sanskrit. Virya, which is soul strength, soul force, is the quality of the vira, of the hero. See? And that is also the Latin root for the word virtue or virtu. Virtu is soul force, really. It's not moral force, but soul force. And soul force can, in Sri Aurobindo's terminology, can take the four qualities of the Divine Mother that you were saying. So virtue can be wisdom, virtue can be power, virtue can be love, virtue can be skill of the body. All these are virtues, they're soul forces. So I wanted to ask you, the term virtue, what does it translate to? And you all were talking about that right now, mystical virtue, etc. What are the connotations of that word? Does it mean soul force? Is it, and the difference between morality and virtue from that point of view?
For me, virtue is the law of the Tao. It's it's the constant law of the Tao, the principle. Yeah, it's the real moral. Like June said, that it's a lot of our moral has been created through the culture, and the culture is created through the adaptation. So it's the mind of the man, people, human mind got involved to create the moral. Then it's not the virtue. The real virtue is like what Jun just mentioned. It's the hidden. It's hidden within the Tao. It's the nature. It's the organic real principle. Which if we use the language of the integral yoga, it's the divine consciousness of the divine consciousness, the law of the divine consciousness. It's the different operation with our low hemisphere of operation.
I can help a little bit from the Dao De Jing. Actually, the book Lao Tzu called Dao De Jing. So the first part is about Dao. The second part is about the De, which is literally translated as virtue. So the second half part is about the virtue. The Dao is the virtue, which is De, which is very different from, for example, Confucius virtue or the common sense of virtue, which is more like a morality or a principle you have to follow during life. But Taoist virtue is very different. It's just like Debashi said, there's a translation problems both between Asian language and modern Chinese, and also between Chinese and English. And so there's definitely a translation is there with De. So it's make it more interesting actually. So De can be means the character of De have a similar radical as Dao, has a road, right? And so the De is more like the power, the manifestation of Dao, but it's not a law actually. It's not like you have to do like this. It's just the opposite. De is very for example, Wu Wei is a state of De. Non-action is virtue, is the virtue of Dao, right? So Lao Tzu actually say Dao is unspeakable, because Dao cannot be explained in language. So he just chose the word Dao, which in his time, in the 600s BCE, everyone using Dao, like Confucius, the legalists, they all use Dao. So Lao Tzu said, actually, what he wants to say has no word. He just chooses the common words Dao to explain this unspeakable non-being, right? So actually, when Dao was translated as the way, it's already limited the original thing Lao Tzu is trying to explain. So what we can say, or what we can manifest, is through De, through virtue. So-called this kind of De power. It has so many meanings, right? So Wu Wei is kind of De, or possession is De. So all this, and the hidden virtue is also the manifestation of Dao, is De. Sometimes De, I really like what you connect with the hero. Yeah, the hero and the inner virtue. And I also wonder if it's have a parallel between the Sanskrit Shakti, like the power of the Prakriti, and so it's the force actually, it's the force. Yes. And in the healing process actually, it's because we have this force is also a healing force. This virtue, the De, yes. Because of De, we can. Because healing is a process, right? What's his inner force to initiate or maintain the healing process is through this De. So De is really rich meaning there. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think so. That's I think another element to think about for the future of the work. That some of these terms need to be really opened up in terms of their connotations and the differences between spiritual ethics rooted in this kind of fluidity and infinity than a moral ethics that is rooted in a human sense of value. And this would lend itself to, like, Shakti. I agree, that is Shakti. It would lend itself to this reparenting, which is always what you call the umbilical connection, which is always saturated with freedom. There is a sense of being free to it. Its virtue is its freedom.
Yes. Like in word training, talk about vital essence and the virtue. With virtue, it's the self-regulation of our vital essence. So it's the internal self-regulation force. Yeah. Also combined with this, Devashi and Jun talk about it's a force to self-regulate. Yeah, from internal our self-regulation, not from outside.
I also felt like, June said something a while. Yeah, June said something a while ago. She used the word static, and I think that this system, the way you put it together with the circular diagram and what you're trying to get at is a very fluid thing, and that the Tao embodies that, at least in my mind. I'm being a Westerner, I'm a little ignorant, I think, on this, but that's a big aspect of what you're also alluding to by bringing these disparate systems together, that it's a fluid, ongoing movement process, not a static, linear, hierarchical process. And that's very important about the work you're doing.
Yes. Yeah, so that's why in the dissertation I mentioned all this table or vertical or concentric. It's not about good or bad where we are going to attend, and it's not about the different layer which is good, which is bad. No, it's just about the reality. Yeah, it's fluid. It's very fluid. Yes.
Yeah.
Leisha or June, would you be interested in asking any other questions?
Not me. I just want to say, as we say back east here, Mazel Tov, congratulations.
Leisha.
I'm fine too. I want to give a little time for the other audience if they have questions.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, let's open it up to the audience for a few minutes, 15 minutes of questions before the committee moves to a breakout room to discuss the dissertation. If anybody has any comments, questions, please come forward. Thank you.
Hi. I wanted to say congratulations. I think that endeavoring in a project that undertakes the arduous labor of translation is impressive and brave. And so I just wanted to say congratulations on this milestone. I think related to the questions that kept coming up about cultural and historical specificity, one text just keeps coming to mind that might be helpful as you continue to develop the work, and it's Lisa Lowe's The Intimacy of Four Continents. And I'll drop it in the chat, but I just wanted to offer that. It's one of those texts that endeavors to just really think about the intimacies of the historical material and cultural and like political contexts across Africa, Asia, the US, and Europe. And it could just be helpful in terms of just trying to ground the abstract in some historical material and political, cultural intimacies and just their relationships, and just conceptualizing that, since you're working around the concept of the integral and yeah, and all of these spiritual contexts being grounded in very real cultural and historical political histories.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not so sure if I understand what you try to tell me. Okay, I'm not so sure because of the language in my English listening is a bit weak. So, but I really appreciate what you said about intimacy. I will explain what according to what I heard. I don't know if it's right, what you want to express to me. That actually, my real drive inside of me is to create a kind of collaboration or intimacy in between different races or nations or culture or history. If to take beyond it, the difference, and into the commonality, and to create a kind of intimacy that even though in our outer personality, in our appearance, we are different, but actually we have the same thing. We are the same in somewhere. I don't know if I get it right from what you.
No, yes, I see you doing that in your work, and because there's that tension around specificity versus also touching on those shared aspects of humanity. I think that that just might be a text to look at, to just kind of see how someone else is grappling with thinking through both ends of that. And she does that through this concept of intimacy, but she uses that concept of intimacy to trace and link all of the ways that shared sort of timelines. She looks at specific points in history and how these macro sort of political moments, constructs, whatever, are all interconnected and affecting everyone in different places and spaces, right? So she does that in a way that is both forcing us to grapple with the shared human experience, while also contending with cultural and political specificities of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really touched by what you described, the work. I will really.
Thank you, Tay. I think that's very valuable. And if you could put in the chat the name of the book that you're talking about, I think it would be helpful to lots of people.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jonathan, do you have something to say?
Yeah, thanks, Paya. Beautiful presentation. And also I commend and appreciate the cross-cultural nature of your work. I'm also engaged in cross-cultural translation as well. And I guess a question, and maybe it's a more of a practical question about applying this into like a psychotherapeutic practice. And I was wondering, would it be, how important is it that the people that you would be using this work as a lens to help through psychotherapy, how important is it for them to understand the metaphysical concepts that your frameworks are resting in? Because you would have a practical side, like you said, there'd be ways in which you could, there'd be practices, meditation, things like that, maybe even some creative work. But in terms of like understanding the deeper metaphysics and helping people connect to the cosmic or the infinite potential, I was just wondering about how you'd implement this.
When I do the field work, a lot of time I don't really explain the theory that this is a metaphysical concept, but it just work out when I use the essential mother, divine mother to support my clients when I feel it's time to implement this healing element. It just work out every time. I have to just say that from the wounded space, they just right away they feel they get something, and something shift, like they feel understood or they feel supported or whatever. Just something happen. And the more we practice it, I utilize these hidden elements in my field work. And sometimes then they will give me feedback that in daily life, something happened to them. And then he just use this method, technique in daily life, and it really help them out in that moment. Because I think a lot of time in the field work, if it's not the workshop or training, then a lot of time to explain metaphysical knowledge, sometimes it's important because people have different psychic formulation. If the understanding, my understanding is important, then I might explain a little bit more. But if if the person is more emotional feeling, more feeling type, more direct sensation type, then sometimes I just use this method and it just work out. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, thank you.
It requires my trust, and also I trust my feeling when I use it. And sometimes I got the reaction from when I use it, and I don't take it personally. I take it just trigger out something that maybe the relationship with the mother, something got triggered, or the deep mistrust was broken. So this person cannot really trust this spirituality, essential mother or divine mother there. Then the wound was triggered, and then I work on that wound. Yeah, I validate this mistrust or this mistrust. Yeah, then we can go into the healing the wound.
Dina?
Yeah, thank you. I was just also segueing from Jonathan's question. Is there an age group that this wouldn't be appropriate for in taking this into the therapy room? Is there, I mean, I'm thinking of even young teens, I mean, the inner child is very much there, but do you see this work for a particular age group only, or is this a wider age that this can be applied to?
Yeah, I would say that when people have real difficulty in life, there is something more open to work on. Yeah. Actually, I was thinking for the teenage, I think the understanding actually is important, and I have the thought how to use this modality to work with a teenager. I had that thought. I don't know how to do it, but I have that thought. Yeah, because teenager mind is so flexible and is so full of potential and is so open and really need a little bit guidance to work through this chaotic period. Yeah, the teenager is really in the permanent space. Yeah.
So, Abhaya, one thing that both these questions, I mean, I think what Dana was saying, what Jonathan was saying, I'm bringing up is related to a couple of thoughts in my mind. One of them has to do with the developmental model, of the inner child work, where you point out that from the family mode, there is a kind of, actually you trace it all the way from the infant to the teenager. And so there's a development from the family to gradual self-empowerment, uniqueness, relationality, and a moving out into the world, a being in the world, right? I feel it mirrors in a way the question that June was asking about the vertical and the horizontal. So in this developmental model, you are a natural child of a natural mother in a natural family, and you're moving out of it. So there is a certain kind of verticality and sort of, moving out in it. But there is also the notion that movement brings its own shadows, its own wounds, right? Creating the vulnerable and the protective layers of the child. And the connection between that and, the reparenting is the discovery of the, ever-present mother, so to say, right? In the sense that one has never left the family, that, I mean, the family is one kind of mother, but as you call it, the umbilical connection is always there and needs to be reestablished. So there are two models. One is a developmental model, whether you're talking about the verticality of the spiritual model or the going out of the psychological model. There is a developmental model. And, I think that it's an important aspect to recognize and forefront the fact that this is countered by the other model of the ever-present origin. You never move out of something. You think you move out, and that's what's causing the problems. But to stay in the center is to reparent yourself perpetually. You're always there and you're always moving. So yes. I think that element is a important element to acknowledge in your work. Yes.
That's why I mentioned that it's a spirituality, and it's a collective unconscious, and then the the spirituality and the non-being and the being are connected. And only when these are connected, so when our developmental task, it comes to the point of moving out and to express ourselves in the world with our unique self, we still have a transcendental home there within us. So we are not just out and without roots. No. Yeah. And we still have this connection there. And also to moving out of the becoming independent from the family doesn't mean that we cut off from the family. Yeah, it's just psychological growth that now I'm grown up, I'm mature, that I have my own idea. I can be independent in the material way, in psychological way, in my spiritual way. I have my own choice. Yeah, so it's not cut off from the parents, but it's to relate with parents in a different way from our adult consciousness, but not from our child space, like when we need the developmental needs, dependency needs. Yeah, and to do this, it's important to know that we have a transcendental mother there, divine mother there. So it's so that's why the spirituality become the this two layer is it's important together. That's why the spirit can become helpful in our daily life. I perceive this way. So spirituality is not something very just far away. It can be helpful in our daily life.
Okay, thank you very much, Abhaya and everybody else. I think we'll call on Jonathan to move the committee members to another room. While the rest of you can continue conversing, please feel free to share your comments and questions with Abhaya, and we'll have a short discussion and then come back to this room.
Thank you.
Okay. Here we go. Great. Wow. Yeah, congratulations. Beautiful work. So I'm not sure how long they'll be, but we can continue the conversation if we'd like. Dana, do you have anything you wanted to?
You know, I might. I just was going to say that I just have to tend to my dog for a minute, so I'm going to turn off my video for just a minute or two, but I'll be right back.
Great. Okay, no worries. Yeah, hi. I was going to ask a question about the idea of the child and the mother being a literal, I mean, right? Like being a literal aspect of our relationship, like we said, to a mother and to a cosmic mother, for instance, right? Or transcendental mother. And I was just wondering how you negotiate the kind of problems of normativity in how culture depicts, or how we have an image, like an archetypal image of a mother, for instance, but like in a sense, like that can become a normative image, which may limit people's possibilities to access maybe maybe a non-normative relationship to a cosmic mother, meaning maybe there's people that relate to the cosmic mother in ways that you wouldn't necessarily it's not the same way as what am I trying to say? It doesn't adhere to a kind of a traditional image. That's another word maybe I'm going to say, rather, traditional image of what a mother is. And so I was wondering, when you're working with people and how you think that can be problematic, or how we can overcome, if it is problematic, how we can overcome that.
First, I would like to make sure, when you say normative, what does it mean? I don't know this word.
Well, sort of the commonly accepted, let's say that, the traditional idea. So like when we think of a mother, we think of a certain type of relationship, or we think of a certain type of symbol in a way, or you know, that is also depicted by culture, meaning that the mother in a European culture, the relationship it functionally is the same, but it culturally could be also quite different than in China, for instance.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to say, how do we utilize that, but then also exceed and try to open up to the cosmic mother without being limited also in how we talk about the mother, or how we engage with it as an archetype in a way.
So it is depend on if it's the workshop. I have a space to. Normally, I can I provide a space for people to when we talk about the essential mother, cosmic essence in between, in the central there, and after they listen to my explanation, then I let them to just draw their picture. Yeah, draw their picture. So when you heard about the Divine Mother, Essential Mother, what image comes to you? Yeah, and what just appear in you, in your consciousness, and maybe what kind, no matter it's image or sound or any voice, whatever, you just draw it out in your, put it out. Trust it, it's from inside. Then you put it on you in the paper. Yeah, and then after that, then everybody will come out all differently. Yeah, so even though in the same culture, everybody come out differently, and then they can share with each other, and by sharing, then they feel the then they get more clear. Oh, this is my essential mother, my transcendental mother, my divine mother. Is this has contained these qualities in me. Yeah, because everybody has different. Inside psychic mother image. It's an image. It's an inside psychic image. Everybody has different access, different image of it.
So that segues greatly into a question I'd love to ask, if that's okay. Yeah, it's all right. You also, I think you mentioned, or you used the words reverse attention. Yes. Reverse attention. I thought those were lovely words, to reverse your attention. In taking someone through that process where they might reverse their attention, and I think I think you're meaning to bring the attention within as opposed to have the attention on the outside. When we do that, do you think our identity shifts in some way? Do you think we have to rethink identity in some way if we're reversing our attention and using that as a consistent way in daily life? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah.
It makes sense for me. Yeah. For my own experience, it's just it does change my identity. Yeah, gradually, and take time, and gradually, and but it helps me because our upbringing process, we tend to focus outside, and then we lose contact with ourselves. Yeah, and then when we reverse our attention, then our consciousness get in touch with ourselves, and what is really, then we start we start to have, and through this psychical map, I start to have a tool to understand myself through, oh, okay, when I relate with my husband, I relate to him through my blaming or my pleasing. It's my protective mechanism, which I grow up with. Yeah, and then the process going on, like, Okay, now I realize it's not me. It's just a part of me, which I formulate as my protective mechanism to relate to outside to get what I need or whatever. Yeah, for the purpose of my personal agenda. Yeah, it's just what I formulated when I was growing up. And right now I was grown up. What can I do? What do I really want to do? So then slowly I'm more in touch with my true feeling, my true needs, and what I really want, the consequence in my life.
May I ask one more question? Do we have time? Okay, so that's wonderful. So if you were to maybe give some words or that form some sort of description, I don't even think description, but if you were to give some words about your identity before this practice and now your identity after this practice, what might that be? Or would there be a difference in words at all? Yeah.
In the past, now I'm 60. When I started my inner growth about my 26 or 27, at the time, yeah, people say I look like a refugee, yeah, and dark, and so I would, before I do my healing process, I would say my self-identity is that I'm a hope. Life is, how to say it? Right now, karma is I'm hopeless. Yeah. And this life is no hope. I would say that, and my life is hopeless. I'm just a failure. Yeah, I would say my identity, and I need to obey. Yeah, I write all this in my dissertation. I need to obey. Yeah, and right now, yeah, my identity is different. Yeah.
I think I'm seeing it in your radiation, so there's no need to even go beyond that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I feel really like crying, but I noticed that. Thank you for asking this question.
Kevin, please ask a question.
Hi, Abaya. I'm sorry, I don't know how to turn my video on with the phone. It was a beautiful presentation and dissertation. The question that I have is how, if the experience of the biological mother, the natural mother, is deeply wounded, and you talked about this mistrust. What ways do you suggest repairing that so that the person can begin to approach or allow in the cosmic mother, begin to cultivate a relationship with the cosmic mother if the biological mother relationship is so deeply wounded?
Yeah, this is such a good question. Yeah. Yeah. I would say there's a process. Yeah, to require the validation first, listen, to reflect, to validate this person's feeling a lot, and just to listen, to understand this person, and use my presence to let this person to start sensing a little bit. There's someone there. Its presence is safe for her or him to talk about. Yeah. And then slowly I will find the space that when I talk about the essential mother or divine mother, the first time I always put it in a way say that so if we if we imagine there's a possibility that we are all born from essential mother, our original transcendental mother. What do you think about this idea? I first need to collect a little bit this person's, because also, as we said, different culture and different family background and different kind of wounds. So when I put out the image of the essential mother, I don't just put it out. I say, suppose there's a essential mother, and then what do you think about this idea? So I get some idea about this is too intrusive for her, or actually in part of her, actually there is a space is longing for it. And he does not recognize it yet. And I just put out and I have support her to recognize her. That's it. Especially with the spirituality, I always, it's very delicate. I always try to just put out this idea, and then I listen to what she is going to say, how she responds. And then because of this process, then slowly she gets to understand, oh, there is beyond the biological mother, there is another original mother there, which is ever present and is just so safe, it's there. Yeah. Because it's still within her. It's just the process of awakening it. I don't know if I answer your question.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful beginning. I mean, this is such a rich territory. I'm wondering about how nature, well, you talked about this, I think, in your dissertation, going out into nature and how that connection with nature can help to cultivate this connection with the...
Yes, this is just, I'm going to say that sometimes I ask them, normally in daily life, what do they feel more relaxed, they feel safer, it's a space they can feel recharged. So I let them talk about their resources first. Yeah, and then I also sometimes I share myself, this is the way I feel supported. Yeah, and nature is just really my very good resources for me.
So you ask them what they're...
It's everywhere. It's just some people get in touch with the mother through nature. Some people from the pets. Some people from the flower, whatever, different. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
For music.
Okay, we'll wait for Dana's question. We will insert ourselves into the conversation to congratulate Abhaya for a wonderful. One thing we all felt unanimously is that your oral presentation was just terrific. It was really very well done. I think the way in which you brought all the material together into your slides and in an hour's time gives such a beautiful bird's eye view of the entire process was exemplary. I think we all felt that going forward, if you want to publish your work, I think you should redo the introduction in the manner in which you did your presentation, which really kind of summarizes very tightly what the rest of the work does, because it's so complex and voluminous. If people get a bird's eye view from the top, that'll help them a lot in navigating the material afterwards. But that's no reflection on what you have to do now. This is just in case you want to publish your work later, right? For now, as I said, we approve your presentation and your dissertation, but with some conditions, little bit of writing. One part had to do with, what we discussed regarding the Chinese terms. So when you're using concepts that you're bringing in from Wilhelm or Jung, and you've got Chinese terms there, a little more discussion about those terms would be helpful. That is, what is the, other connotations of those terms that your own, as a Chinese speaker, your own, sort of view and a little more nuancing of the translations of Chinese terms would be helpful. If you don't have to do much, just a little more discussion about that. And the other element that came up has to do with the difference between this work as a tool for personal transformation and a tool for therapy. They're two different things. As a tool for personal transformation for yourself, it's a total system that is very helpful. As a tool for others who may read the work and who may be open to the whole of it, I think you and I discussed this a little bit once. Therapy has the question of adequacy to it. You are helping a person overcome a specific kind of healing problem, while personal transformation, that's where the questions that were asked to you about what do you explain the metaphysical frame? You don't have to explain the metaphysical frame because you're dealing with specific problems. While say something like a life coaching or even a personal transformative tool means delving into the whole system and making it one's own.
Yeah.
So I think what we felt is that in your introduction, adding a short section that discusses the role of this text as a text for personal transformation or for therapy, would be useful and necessary for people to understand what is possible, what is the potential of this text.
Oh, I mentioned a little bit in the conclusion, so I should put it in the introduction.
You can do it in the conclusion. You can do it in the conclusion. You can do it in the conclusion about, the tool for personal transformation and what is its limitations as a tool for therapy.
So this, I need to get it right. So what you are saying is that in my conclusion or introduction, I should mention that this is the tool for personal information transformation, for healing or transformation, and not for the psychotherapy.
No. You can use it for psychotherapy. You as a healer can use this model for psychotherapy, but you can, because there's a question of adequacy, right? In psychotherapy, you're utilizing this model to help people, but you're not asking them to transform, right? You're not trying to make them into supramental individuals, right? They're not wanting to become supramental individuals.
Yeah.
So there is a question of how much of it you can use. You're using it to help people, but
Yes.
you're not making people transform fully using its entire potential as you're doing for yourself.
I'm a little confused. Sorry. Here, I don't really get it. Yeah.
So would you say that when you see this work that you've done as a personal transformation tool,
Yeah.
and when you see this work as something that you utilize in the therapeutic setting, that there is a difference between the two? Do you think there's a difference?
For me, the scope is different.
That's the thing. So if you mention the difference in scope, that's the scope is different, right?
Yes. Yes.
What's the difference?
In psychotherapy, it's also more in the working on the disorders, right? But I'm not working on disorders. Yeah. I'm more interested in promoting the health, the healing, and the transformation.
So if that's the case, then you have to make that clear, that that's the part that you need to make clear, that this is not to just heal disorders.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not working on focus on disorders. Yeah, psychological disorders.
Yeah. So I think that there was a little confusion about that, because a lot of the questions came from there. Questions about how will you use this to heal a teenager, etc. These are questions that relate to the confusion is coming because it has to be clear that this is a model for healing the whole person, right? And not a model for healing disorders. Just even that clarification is useful if you discuss the difference between the two ideas.
Okay. Yeah.
It will clear up this confusion of the scope and setting of this work.
So, okay, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So these two elements, if you can address in your dissertation, which you will submit as the final version, when? Within the next couple of weeks?
No, I need to go to the technical editing in a few days. So I will submit.
Then you do it in a few days, yeah.
Yeah, in 3 days I can do it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I have the idea.
That's fine.
A little bit already. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then that's it. And, and I think congratulations. We're happy to confer the mantle of Doctor of Philosophy to Wang.
Thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And I also want to say that actually I'm not doing psychotherapy. Yeah. I'm doing a healing and transformation. And so this I need to.
Excellent. Yeah, just you need to mention that and just kind of make that clear in the very introduction itself. So this is the scope of the work.
Okay, the scope of the work. Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Debashish. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a great pleasure. It's a great job. I think it's really well done, and its potential is great. So I think you should think about, sit with it for some time. You don't need to do anything immediate, but I think you should not let it sink. You should let it, sort of ferment in you and turn into good wine that you can, make into a book.
Yeah, I have it in mind. take a little bit time. Yes. Thank you for your encouragement. Yes. Okay.
June and Leisha, please, your concluding words to Abhay.
I'm just, congratulations again. It's really a great job today, the presentation. I just want to make the work easier. I just want to mention the few Chinese words, such as you explained the Dao very well, you broke it down, and then you can also do the same as the De. And another two is Hun and the Po. The yang soul and the yin soul. So my suggestion is maybe be more careful about Wayham's translation of the masculine soul and the feminine soul, because that's a very controversial, even in the English word. It's a misunderstanding of Huan and the Po. It's actually many, you can just search very quickly. There's many people critique of the masculine soul. Because in the Chinese, doesn't mean masculine soul. It's just a yang soul and yin soul. So you can just maybe correct that. That's it. That's all you don't have to do too much, actually. The second recommendation about the Chinese word. Yeah.
I think for this, I need your help a little bit. Yeah. So you
okay, yeah, I can help you with that as well if you have any question. Yeah.
Sure.
Because Huan is yang soul. It's not masculine soul. It's not just over gendered in the English translation.
Yeah, oh, I get you. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Right? Yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, thank you, June. Yes.
Welcome. Thank you.
Well, it's been quite a process, and I admire what you've done cross-lingually, because it's a very difficult job that you took on there. And you're coming to the end of it, but I hope you do take it into a book eventually, because I think it's got a lot of richness to what you're doing, what you're writing about. So
yeah. Thank you. And I know you are right. I will reach out to you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for your support. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations once again, Abhay. Wonderful journey ahead for you.
Yeah, thank you, Debashish.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here with me. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Bye.
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 Bye.